You are standing in a dealership parking lot, and it is 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening, and the lighting is perfect. You are looking at a machine that screams success. It is a Ford F-150. Lariat with leather seats that smell like victory, and a price tag that makes your checking account sweat. But you push that feeling down because you just got promoted. You are finally making real adult money, a $67,000 salary with benefits, and you feel like you have earned this reward. The salesman is doing that casual lean against the truck, acting like it is already yours. He looks you in the eye and asks the question that is designed to destroy your financial future. He does not ask if you can afford the truck. He asks what you want your monthly payment to be. You do some quick mental math and think $800 or $900 sounds steep but manageable. You've been driving a 2012 Civic for 6 years, and honestly it is embarrassing pulling up to client meetings in that thing. This truck would fix that insecurity instantly. The salesman smiles and says he can make $1,076 work. You sign papers you do not fully read and drive off feeling like you've just upgraded your entire existence. What you do not know, and what nobody in that building has any incentive to tell you, is that you just made a single decision that will cost you over $1 million by the time you retire. Let's rewind and look at why you made this decision. Because you are not stupid. You did the math in your head. $1,076 a month is less than what many people pay for rent. It is about 20% of your take-home pay. Financial advisors usually say you can spend up to 15% on transportation, so you are a little over, but it does not feel crazy. Plus, there is the cultural pressure. Your dad drove a truck. Real men drive trucks. That Civic feels like you are admitting you are still a child. Your friend Jake just bought a Ram 1500 and posts photos every weekend of mountains and lakes looking capable and rugged. You have not been to a lake in 4 years, but that is beside the point. The dealership does not sell you transportation. They sell you a membership to the club of people who have their life together. The salesman keeps using the word investment, and on some level, you want to believe him. Here is what actually just happened to your finances. That truck has a sticker price of $63,000. By the time you add the fees, the taxes, and the extended warranty they talked you into because you were afraid of repair bills, you are at $70,000 out the door. You put down $7,000 cash, which drains your savings. And you finance the remaining $63,000 at 7% interest for 72 months. That monthly payment isn't just a number, it is a shackle. Over the next 6 years, you will pay $77,500 in total payments. Add your down payment, and you are at $84,500 all in. But here's the reality check that should make your stomach turn. By the time you make that final payment 6 years from now, that truck will be worth approximately $31,000. You paid $84,500 for something that is now worth $31,000. That is not an investment. That is lighting $53,500 on fire, except it took you 6 years to burn it, and you got to sit in heated leather seats while you watched the smoke rise. We are not even at the devastating part yet. The real tragedy is the opportunity cost. If instead of buying that truck to stroke your ego, you had bought a 3-year-old Civic for $15,000 cash and invested the $55,000 difference in a boring S&P 500 index fund at a conservative 7% return, your life would look radically different. You are 25 now. At 35, that $55,000 would have become $108,000. You would have doubled your money just by not buying the truck. At 45, it is $212,000. At 55, it is $417,000. It's at 65, when you are actually trying to retire, that same $55,000 has grown to $820,000 in today's money. That is one truck decision. That's the difference between retiring comfortably at 62 and working at a hardware store until you are 74 because you need the health insurance. Meanwhile, imagine your college roommate. You bought a 2015 Honda Accord for $12,000 cash 3 years ago. He looks broke compared to you. He pulls up in a sedan while you tower over him in your Lariat. But he has been investing that $1,076 per month, the exact same amount you are sending to the bank. His investment account just crossed $43,000. You have made $38,000 in payments, and your truck has depreciated by $21,000. He is up $43,000. You are down $60,000. The gap between your net worth and his is over $100,000 after just 3 years. Nobody looking at you in a parking lot would know this. You look like you were winning, but mathematically you were bleeding out. Let me walk you through what the next 7 years of your life actually look like with this truck. Month 3, the payment is fine, maybe a little tight. You cancel your gym membership to make room, but you are not saving money because you forgot about gas. The truck gets 18 miles per gallon. Your old Civic got 34.
Yes.
You are spending $144 more monthly on fuel than you budgeted. Month 8, the check engine light comes on. It is a faulty oxygen sensor. That is $380. You do not have the cash because of the truck payment, so you put it on a credit card. Year 2 brings your insurance renewal. The premium is $2,680. You only budgeted $1,400. That is an extra $223 a month just to legally park the thing in your driveway. Year 3, you need tires. All 4 of them, so that is $1,200. You finance them because you still do not have the cash flow. Year 4 involves transmission service, a brake job, and an alignment. That is $1,800 total. Your emergency fund, which was $4,000 when you bought the truck, is now down to $340. By year 5, the truck is worth $39,000, but you still owe $31,000 on the loan. You have paid nearly $70,000 into this vehicle, and you own about $8,000 of actual equity. Year 6 is your final payment. You celebrate, but the truck needs $2,400 in suspension work. And your coworker just bought a new Ram TRX. The envy kicks in, the cycle begins again, and you trade it in. This is the truly devastating math because most people do not just buy one expensive truck. They buy one every 7 years for their entire working life. Let's call this person a person A buys a $70,000 truck every 7 years from age 25 to 60. That is 5 trucks. Person B buys an $18,000 used Camry on the same schedule. The monthly cost difference when you factor in payments, higher insurance, fuel, and maintenance is approximately $1,076. That money, invested over 35 years at 7% real returns, grows to $1.9 million. If you get 10% nominal returns, it is $3.8 million. Person A has spent their entire career making truck payments and ends up with a 7-year-old truck worth maybe $35,000. Person B has between $2 and $4 million in investments. They endured the same commutes. They bought the same groceries. They lived the same life. One drove a nicer vehicle, and the other became wealthy. Now we arrive at the part that should make you genuinely angry. This is not just about one person making one bad decision. This is a system designed to extract wealth from the people who can least afford to lose it. The dealership makes about $2,400 on the sale of the metal itself. That is not where the profit is. The big money is in financing. They get a commission of $600 to $1,200 from the bank just for getting you to sign the loan. The extended warranty is almost pure profit, nearly $1,800. Gap insurance puts another $400 in their pocket. Paint protection is another $800. They made more money on the add-ons and the financing than on the actual truck, and they practice this script every single day. You do this once every 7 years. This is not a fair fight. The bank does not care if you can actually afford this truck long term. They only care if you will make 6 months of payments, because by then, they have bundled your loan with 10,000 others and sold it off as a security. Your risk becomes somebody else's problem. The insurance companies have calculated that people with large auto loans are more likely to file claims because they are financially stressed. So your premiums are higher to subsidize that risk. You are subsidizing other people's poor decisions while making your own. And the marketing is relentless. Every truck commercial shows mountains, boats, and lumber. They are selling you identity. They are selling you masculinity, except according to strategic vision data. 75% of truck owners use their truck for towing once per year or less. Only 7% frequently tow anything. The most common use for these massive vehicles is commuting to an office job. More than half of F-150 owners say they use their truck primarily to drive to work and sit in traffic. They are selling you a $70,000 costume that depreciates. Here is what makes this truly perverse. The people who can actually afford these trucks are not the ones buying them. Warren Buffett is worth $120 billion, Yet he drove a 2006 Cadillac DTS for nearly a decade. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, drove a 1979 Ford F-150 until he died in 1992. It is literally in a museum now with his dog's teeth marks on the steering wheel. Mark Zuckerberg drives a Honda Fit. These people understand something fundamental that the average consumer misses. Wealth is not what you drive. Wealth is what you own that generates income while you sleep. Meanwhile, the average American has $8,000 or $7,000 in total retirement savings, yet they are driving $50,000 to $70,000 vehicles. The person who looks wealthy is often broke. The person who is wealthy often looks boring. Self-made millionaires overwhelmingly drive used Toyotas and Hondas, not because they are cheap, but because they understand opportunity costs in their bones. The most impressive thing is not needing to impress anyone. So what is the actual strategic move here? Let me give you the alternatives because you still need to get around. Strategy 1 is the rental math. You say you need a truck bed 10 times a year for mulch or moving furniture. Rentals cost about $100 a day. That is $1,000 annually. The annual cost of owning that $70,000 truck, including depreciation and interest, is approximately $15,900. You are spending nearly $15,000 a year just for the convenience of not stopping at a rental counter. If you invested that difference over 30 years, it becomes $1.4 million. Strategy 2 is to just buy the base model. An F-150 starts at $38,000. A King Ranch starts at $74,000. The towing capacity is identical. The payload is identical. The difference is leather seats, a better stereo, and chrome trim. That $35,000 difference, if invested, becomes nearly $700,000 over 30 years. Strategy 3 is to let someone else eat the depreciation. A new F-150 loses almost $10,000 the moment you drive it home. Buy a 3-year-old truck instead. It is the same truck, just $23,000 cheaper. That $23,000 saved becomes $439,000 in your retirement account over 30 years. Strategy 4 is the Maverick Hybrid. Starts at $28,000, gets 42 miles per gallon, tows 4,000 pounds, and does what 90% of truck owners actually need. The price difference compared to the big truck, invested, becomes $800,000. Plus you save another $700,000 in fuel costs over a career. The total advantage is over $1.5 million. Strategy 5 is the nuclear option. Buy a 3-year-old Camry for $18,000 cash. Your total annual cost is $4,100 versus almost $16,000 for the truck. The annual difference invested becomes over $1.1 million. Over 30 years, you lived the same life. Went to the same job, but one path made you a millionaire, and the other kept you working. The only difference is what you were sitting in. The goal isn't to be miserable in a terrible car. The goal is to recognize that every vehicle dollar carries a 10 to 15 times multiplier over a career of compounding. A $70,000 truck is really a $700,000 to $1 million decision. An $18,000 used car is really a $180,000 decision. These are not purchases. They are investments. You are either investing in a depreciating asset or investing in your future freedom. You cannot do both. Here's what nobody tells you when you are standing in that dealership. That salesman asking what payment works for you is following a script he has performed 11,000 times. You have done this maybe twice? He knows that if he keeps you thinking in monthly payments instead of total cost, he wins. The bank does not care about your financial health. They care about their securitized asset bundles. Nobody in this entire system has any incentive to tell you the truth. You are about to destroy $500,000 in retirement wealth for a vehicle that will make you exactly 0% happier 6 months from now. Researchers call this hedonic adaptation. The happiness boost from a new vehicle lasts 8 to 12 weeks. Then you return to your baseline level of happiness. The truck just becomes the thing you drive to work. Except the payments do not go back to baseline. Opportunity cost does not disappear. You're paying over $60,000 for 10 weeks of excitement. You could have taken 12 luxury vacations for that same money and had memories that last forever. Our culture makes you feel like this is normal. We act like debt is just a part of adulthood, like working to pay for a depreciating asset is somehow responsible. It is not. It is a trap. and you can choose not to step in it, because here's the secret wealthy people understand. Looking rich and being rich are inversely correlated. People driving $70,000 trucks are usually broke. People driving $15,000 Camrys are often the hidden millionaires next door. One group optimizes for appearance, and the other optimizes for reality. Think about the median American. They have $87,000 saved for retirement. Okay, people aged 55 to 64 have a median of $185,000. They need about $1.2 million to retire comfortably. They are $1 million short, and many of them are driving vehicles that cost them $500,000 in opportunity cost over their lifetimes. You cannot spend your way to wealth. You cannot finance your way to freedom. And here's what really gets me about this entire situation. We have normalized financial stress to the point where people think it is just part of being a responsible adult. You're supposed to have car payments. You are supposed to be stretched thin. You're supposed to feel that low-level anxiety about money constantly humming in the background of your life. But that is not normal. That is not how wealth is built. That is how wealth is destroyed. Month by month, payment by payment, till you wake up at 65 and realize you spent 40 years working to make banks. Dealerships and insurance companies rich while you stayed broke. The system isn't broken. It is working exactly as designed. It's just not designed for you to win. Let me tell you what $500,000 in retirement actually means in practical terms.
Using the 4% withdrawal rule, which is the standard safe withdrawal rate that financial planners recommend, $500,000 generates $20,000 per year in retirement income. That is $1,667 per month for the rest of your life. Without touching the principal, that truck you bought at 25 didn't just cost you $70,000. It costs you $1,667 per month for every month of your retirement. That is your grocery budget. That is your utilities. That is your ability to travel to see your grandkids, or to not worry about whether you can afford your medications. Every time you make that $1,076 payment, you are not just paying for transportation. You are trading away your future freedom at a rate of $2 of retirement income for every dollar you spend today. Recent data shows that auto loan delinquencies are at their highest level since the Great Recession. Over 7 million Americans are 90 days or more behind on their car payments. Repossessions are surging. People are losing their vehicles and still owing thousands of dollars on loans for trucks they no longer own because of the negative equity. The system does not just want your money. It wants you trapped in a cycle where you are always one missed payment away from disaster. And the craziest part is that most of these people genuinely believed they could afford the truck when they bought it. The math worked on paper. The monthly payment fit the budget. They did everything the dealership told them to do, and they are still drowning. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I am trying to show you a reality that the entire automotive financial complex desperately wants to keep hidden. Every $1,000 you spend on a depreciating vehicle is roughly $15,000 you will not have in retirement. Every car payment is a choice between looking successful now and actually being successful later. Every time you walk into a dealership focused on monthly payments instead of total cost, you're playing a game where the house always wins and you always lose. The difference between financial stress and financial freedom often comes down to one decision. The decision to stop trying to look wealthy and start actually building wealth. And for most people, that decision starts with what they drive. Think about it this way. That $1,076 monthly truck payment over 6 years equals $77,500. But if you took that same money and put it into a retirement account instead, by the time you are 65, it would not just be 70 with compound interest over 40.